Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Prairie Podcast. It's so wonderful to have you join us today, whether you're a student at the college, whether you're a relative of a student, maybe you're a fellow faculty or staff at the college, a community member, someone who found this podcast on social media. No matter who you are welcome here, and we're excited to have you join us because we've got such a wonderfully excellent person with us here today, Dr. Bill Nyman. So, why don't you introduce yourself for us? Tell us a bit about who you are, and then we'll go on from there.
Thank you for having me on. I've watched the podcast a few times, so
Yeah.
I know what it's about, and I have seen some guests, so it's great. My name is Bill Nyman, and I am the theology professor here at Perry. So I've been here for 25 years
Okay, yeah.
almost. So I'm looking forward to this podcast.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, it's good to have you on here. And just to get started, let's get to know each other a little bit more. I'm curious, do you have a boring fact about yourself? My boring fact today is that I love growing basil.
Well, I have a lot of boring facts about myself, but I don't know. I've been thinking about what I do and maybe some of the boring facts. Maybe one of them is I conjugate Latin verbs in my spare time. So
Okay.
that's exciting to me, but
Yes.
not so exciting to others. If I tell others I do that, then they kind of look at me like, "Oh, all right," you know. So maybe that's a boring fact.
Perfect. I love it. I think that's a good sign to having a theology professor.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, you're the professor of theology here at Prairie College. I'm curious if you could just kind of expand for us. What are some of the things that you do? Beyond even just the classroom, are there other projects, activities that take up some of your time here on campus?
Of course, I just stepped into the role of a
Hmm.
theology professor. I was in the library and I was part of student success. So I have a lot of interaction with students. And so in this last year, when I stepped into the role of a theology professor, I kind of miss the one-on-one interaction with the students. So I want to kind of go back to that a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more
Yeah.
this year. And of course, it takes a lot of prep to do all these to prep for all the courses. But I like to just interact with the students. That's really what
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this year.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. And do you have some plans or ways you've already thought of some ideas you've had on how you can increase that?
Yeah, well, actually, yes, I've thought about that, and I think I'm going to spend a little bit more time in the library now. I've spent a lot of time in the library in the past, but I'm going to just kind of like after class, go to the library and interact with students there, and
Hmm.
see what they're up to, and see what they're researching, and kind of get to know the students a little bit better that way.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. That's awesome. If there's any students listening, you know where to find
Yes,
Bill.
definitely.
Back in the library.
Back in the library.
Awesome. Okay, so you've been here 25-ish years here working at the college. You've probably got a lot of stories, a lot of memories. So this might be hard, but I'm curious if you'd have sort of a fun memory, something that just stands out. That's a story you love to tell from
Oh.
your time here at Prairie.
Well, there are many stories. I have one that kind of stands out. Eh, Maybe not, like a fun thing at the time,
Yep.
but looking back, it was kind of comical, right? So I used to work in the library,
Hmm.
and so a part of the job was to switch things around, switch bookcases, books around, and working in the library is pretty safe job. The only thing that you can, the injury that you can have is a paper cut. Well, I can live with that. But hold on, it was a lot more dangerous than I figured. Um, when I was switching books in the library, bookcases, and I was by myself at the time, the library director was in her office,
Hmm.
and I was just switching books, and all of a sudden, this whole bookcase started to shift. And because I emptied one side, the other side was a little bit heavy. And so I was just kind of like switching books around, and all of a sudden, this whole bookcase started to come down on me. And before I knew it, I was laying there with a bookcase
Really?
on me and a pile of books on top of me. So I was buried in a pile of books. And of course, I was by myself, and I could see the library director. She was in her office, so I was just kind of, "Hey, help, help," and whistling, and she didn't hear me. So I was laying there just crying out, "Help, help." And she turned around and she couldn't see me, but a pile of books. So she came out and she found me and she dug me out. And so who knew that you need to wear a hard hat in the
Art in the
library?
library.
So, looking back, it was kind of a comical thing, but
Yeah. In the moment, maybe not so much.
in the moment, it wasn't so much, but
The
hindsight, yes.
the new library manual is gonna have some personal protection
That's
equipment.
right. Hard hat and steel-toed shoes,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Well, thanks for sharing some of that. And I think it goes to show that, you know, there can be fun had in the library, right?
That's right. Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So, okay, we got some of the prairie side of things talked about here, but I really want to hear more about you, Bill.
Mhm.
So I'm curious if you could actually go back for us, as far back as you want, but kind of track for us what's kind of been the testimony, the journey of your life.
Mhm.
You can even say if you want up to how you got to Prairie and even some of your time here, but I'd be curious to go before that. If
Okay.
you would, just stretch out that
Yeah.
story for us.
Yeah. And so I immigrated in 81
Okay.
to become a farmer. And
Okay.
so I was in agriculture for 20 years, and that was kind of a rough journey.
Hmm.
Agriculture is, you're working with the world market, ups and downs, and so that didn't work very well.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I was working at a church, and I really enjoyed working at a church, preaching and so forth. And so I thought, well, when I retire at 50 some from farming, I want to go back to school and maybe um, become a pastor.
Hmm.
And so, but that, like I went a little earlier than expected.
Yeah.
So I figured, okay, now is the time to go to school. Um, I'm gonna, I'm going to get my degree and become a pastor.
Okay.
No, well, while I was here at Perry, I was an older student when I came here. At the end of my 4 years, I figured, well, now is the time to kind of start applying to become a pastor.
Hmm.
And lo and behold, um, Ken Penner, one of the faculty members here, I had a lot of respect for. I never took any classes with him, and he never really knew me well. Came up to me on the second floor. I still remember it on the second floor of FH, and said to me, "You know what? Maybe you should become a teacher."
Hmm.
And I don't know why he said it. I never thought of becoming a teacher. And I applied for churches, but I was a rough time. I did not get any churches. And I figured, you know what? Maybe he's right. Maybe he has something or saw something in me that I didn't see myself.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought, well, let's see what gives. So I continued going to school, and the library hired me on. I always liked the library. I worked in the library as a student, and that June or July, I started working in the library. And also, the dean came to me and said, we have a course here that really nobody wants to teach, and
Yeah.
that is a writing course. Well, who wants to teach writing, right? So I thought, well, why me? I just that's not my expertise,
Yeah.
right? But I said, sure, I'll take it. And so I started teaching thinking and writing. And I've taught thinking and writing for 14 years,
Wow.
and kept working in the library and started to pinch hit for other faculty members. If I needed to teach a course, I could do it. And I taught some theology courses. And then last year, they asked me if I would do this full time. And
Okay.
so it's been a long journey,
Hmm.
but Ken Penner, it was some kind of prophetic word
Yeah.
from him. So that kind of stands out
Okay.
uh, being here at Perry. Yeah.
Certainly. It's fascinating how just a simple few words
Hmm.
can also make that whole big change from someone that's not even
Definitely.
that close, actually.
Definitely. He actually didn't know me at all as a student. And I didn't know him as an instructor. I knew him from seeing him around, but that's it. So he really didn't know me very well. So
Okay.
it's kind of, that was definitely a God thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
certainly. Well, thanks for sharing some of that journey for us there. I think you give some great insight into kind of the ways that God has led you
Hmm.
and worked through you. You know, starting with the move to Canada and the farming and agriculture, and then the preaching and teaching and just that path there. You know, you didn't quite expect it,
No.
but that's how it goes. I
Yeah.
think that seems to be the story of most people's lives.
Hmm.
They start doing one thing and then
Right.
plans change,
Yeah.
but all of a sudden you find
Definitely.
yourself in a spot that, this is actually
Yeah.
really awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay.
Definitely.
So I'm just kind of curious from you. I think you touched on it a little bit. That this Ken Penner kind of gave you that push towards teaching, and things slowly started working together here at Prairie. But I'm curious, were there any other inspirations or people, or maybe it was books, or was there stages along the pathway where you just felt inspired, for example, with the preaching, um, and the teaching? I don't know if there's anything else you can share about that, but
Hmm.
I'm curious if there were other inspirations along the way, uh, that
Sure.
guided that.
Yeah. So during my time here, of course, I had some great teachers
Mhm.
here at Prairie, and I did my master's at Briarcrest. I had some great teachers there. But what inspires me is to teach young people
Hmm.
um, and get them excited about theology. Theology is one of those subjects. A lot of them kind of think, okay, well, this is ivory tower stuff. Why do I need it? It's too difficult. Why do we have to think about that?
Yeah.
Right? But when I was here, I had a great theology prof, and all my theology profs through Briarcrest as well, they had a passion to instill in young people their knowledge and get them excited about theology. And then also, when you're excited about theology, you become excited about God. Who
Yeah.
is God? And who is Christ? What has He done for me? And um, I like to think that that's my calling is to
Mm.
get young people excited about God.
Yeah.
And so, and when they're excited about God, they become excited about their life and what am I doing here? What is my calling? And so forth. So,
Okay.
if I can just help them in one way or the other, in a small way, then I think that's a great privilege that I
Hmm.
don't take for granted.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And just as a compliment to you and the other professors of recent years who have done theology, you guys have done an excellent job. I
Thank you.
myself personally, and I know many others have enjoyed uh, understand. Theology isn't this ivory tower stuff. It's
Hmm.
actually practical. It helps you think through problems.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
And even when you're going through hard times, sometimes you don't think suffering and hard times and theology. I don't want to think about that, but actually it helps you process it
That's
too.
definitely,
So
definitely
wonderful. Thank you so
good.
much for being on staff here and helping us with that and helping the students. I'm
It's my
excited.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excited to see how things continue to develop this year.
Yes.
Okay, just thinking back to you. So you talked at the start that you like to conjugate, was it
Latin verbs.
Latin verbs. So I'm fascinated to hear if you have a certain topical fascination right now. Is there something that's other than Latin verbs? Is there something that's like really drawn your attention? This is a topic that maybe you didn't expect to get hooked into, but you're just really enjoying studying right now, or thinking through, or reading about.
Well, the thing is, of course, that for many years I've been fascinated with apologetics
Yeah.
in one way or the other, right? And so I do a lot of research, do a lot of reading on that particular topic as well.
Hmm.
And that's something when I was younger, I thought about, but never really had the chance to do anything with.
Hmm.
And so I am glad that I have the opportunity now um, to teach that
Hmm.
and to write about and to read about and to think about.
Okay.
And so,
Certainly. And I'm just curious if anybody's interested in hearing, do you have a couple quick recommendations? People want to get started into apologetics. Where should they look?
well, I know there are so many, but
Yes.
there are so many, but if you read anything of, for instance, William Lane Craig,
Yep.
it's accessible. It is well done, and he knows his audience, and he's got some good things to say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
certainly. I know the
yeah,
On Guard book, that's a
that's really
very
helpful.
that's
Yeah,
an easy one to get into,
yeah,
but lots of good stuff. Okay,
yeah.
wonderful. So, okay, just to close off here, I'd love to hear from you on a personal basis. Is there maybe something that God's been teaching you? You know, you're the teacher, you're the professor here, and so there's a lot of pouring out of preparing and teaching the students. But I'm always fascinated here. I'd be curious: is there something that God's been teaching you that He's been
Hmm.
pouring into you recently that you'd be willing to
Yeah,
share with us?
yeah, and that's over the years, especially the last few years. I am really taken in by the enthusiasm of the students
Hmm.
that come here and their willingness to learn. And as somebody who's older, um, it's 20 something. You're kind of removed
Yeah.
from that time period. But they teach me so much.
Yeah.
Their enthusiasm and their faith, and I'd love to, and it keeps me young.
Yeah.
Talking to the students, interacting with the students, see what they have to say, the world that they live in, how
Mhm.
they see the world. They teach me a lot about how they see the world
Hmm.
and what fascinates them, what bothers them, what scares them. Those kind of things that it's really good for me to be involved with the younger generation
Hmm.
and listen to what they have to say.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's an important lesson for a lot of people to think about and just to keep asking questions. Actually,
Hmm.
I love the idea of that intergenerationalness of asking, inquiring, seeing what's going on there, and then that helps inform you and teach you.
Definitely,
Wonderful.
for
Well,
sure.
well, thank you so much, Bill, for coming on the podcast here and
Yeah.
sharing these stories with
Yeah.
us. Some of the adventure, some of the jokes too.
Yeah.
We can always count on you to make us laugh.
Well, thank you. It was great. It was absolutely a privilege to be here.
Of
So
course,
thank you
wonderful.
very
So,
much.
before we close off, do you have any final words for our listeners? Anything else you want to get out there?
Well, you put me on the spot here.
Exactly.
uh, I don't know for those who are students who are coming here, who are here. Enjoy your year. Enjoy the time that you have here as a student. Enjoy the time of learning, and I encourage learning. And no matter how old you are, you can keep learning, and I think that's a good thing for all of us.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that word there, Bill, and thank you for all of you listening. If you want to
Mhm.
learn more about the theology program, some of the things going on here at Prairie, you can head to the website www.prairie.edu, or you can head to our social media to see some fun photos, some videos, things happening on campus, as well as other podcast episodes. So, thank you so much for listening, and thank you, Bill.
Yes, thank you.